So welcome back. This is episode 24 now of our series on Waterloo. My name is Simon. Good to see you. We are currently flying in the Huey. We are over sort of northern France. We're heading to Charleroi in Belgium. And we are following Napoleon's journey from Paris. He leaves the Élysée Palace on the 12th of June, and he heads in his carriage to Maubeuge, just south of the border. Now, I just realized. Yeah, that's better. Just realised you didn't have the sound on there. Oh well. So we are in the Huey. We're flying to a place called Soissons, which is where he has his lunch. If we zoom in on this map, it's probably easier. Soissons is, so this is Paris here. And Soissons is this town just here. He'll have his lunch at Soissons, and he ends up spending the evening of the 12th here at a place called Laon. And then we will continue to the border to Maubeuge, which is where he is. His troops are sort of accumulating in this sort of pocket here. I'm not sure this is the border of 1815, but he's kind of accumulating in this area, and it's an interesting area for his troops to accumulate in because it is between Mons and Charleroi. So he's keeping Wellington guessing as to his route to Brussels. So the other thing, we were talking about Wellington and his preparations. I thought I found the letter that Napoleon sends to heads of state on April the 4th, 1815. He says, to the sovereigns of Europe, Monsieur, my brother, you will have learnt during the course of the last month of my landing again in France, of my entry into Paris, and of the departure of the Bourbon family. Your Majesty must by now be aware of the real nature of these events. They are the work of an irresistible power, of the unanimous will of a great nation, conscious of its duties and of its rights. A dynasty forcibly reimposed upon the French people was no longer suitable for it. The Bourbons refused to associate themselves with the national feelings or the national customs, and France was forced to abandon them. The popular voice called for a liberator. The expectation which had decided me to make the supreme sacrifice was in vain. I returned, and from the place where my foot had first touched the shore, I was carried by the affection of my subjects into the bosom of my capital. And he carries it on, he says, my first and heartfelt anxiety is to repay so much affection by the maintenance of an honourable peace. The re-establishment of the imperial throne was necessary for the happiness of the Frenchmen. My dearest hope is that it may also secure repose for the whole of France. Each national flag in turn has had its gleam of glory. Often enough, by some turn of fortune, great victories have been followed by great defeats. Today, a finer arena offers itself to the sovereigns of Europe, and I am the first to descend into it. I have provided the world in the past with a program of great contests, and it will please me better in future to acknowledge no rivalry but that of the advocates of peace, and no combat but a crusade for the felicity of mankind. It is France's pleasure to make a frank avowal of this noble ideal. Jealous of her independence, she will always base her policy upon an unqualified respect for the independence of other peoples. If your Majesty's personal sentiments, as I confidently trust, are the same, there is assurance of a widespread and long-continued repose, and justice, seated on the confines of the various states, will be competent to guard their frontiers. I eagerly embrace this opportunity to repeat the sentiments of sincere esteem and perfect friendship with which I remain, Monsieur, my brother, your good brother, and Napoleon. That was the letter that he sent to all the sovereigns' states. So we're coming up on the town of Soissons. This is where Napoleon will take his lunch on the 12th of June 1815. So that letter was sent to all the letters of state, and as I said before, this is on the April the 4th. The Castlereagh, the UK Prime Minister, doesn't allow the Prince Regent to open the letter. He just returns it unopened. And so when that letter comes back, I think Napoleon knows that his chances of maintaining the peace is not going to happen, and that the Allies are going to try to remove him forcibly. So the build-up continues. Troops are landing at Ostend. So Ostend is the port just here. The troops are coming in here. So you can see from Wellington's point of view the line, this road here into which goes to Ghent and then into Brussels is very important. The Bourbon family have retired to Ghent. His troops are coming from Ostend. He's also got troops supplies coming down from Antwerp. So these ports are very important to him, and it will be clear later why Napoleon will try to come up from the Charleroi region, because he's trying to make it easy for Wellington to make the decision to retire on his supply lines, and he wants also to split the Allied army, the Prussians and the Anglo-Dutch. Many of the troops coming ashore at Ostend landed. The horses are actually pushed ashore. They're pushed overboard. That's how they landed the horses. So they swam ashore. And the mood at the time is interesting. There was the British expectations at this point was that there was an air in London that it was almost like Napoleon was some sort of like fox, and it was a hunting season had been started, and they were all going off to hunt this fox. They didn't believe that he would last long. They believed that the French generals and marshals would stop him, but of course they don't. But many, the sort of the scene of the feeling in Brussels was almost like a sort of a Mayfair ball kind of thing. People from Mayfair, hostesses, would come over to Brussels. They set themselves up. Their hunts would be arranged. There'd be this whole sort of the court of the British Army arrive in Brussels. And this is and it's reflected in the British government's initial willingness to allow Slender Billy, this Prince of Orange, to become commander-in-chief. But as we see, the matter becomes more serious. The Prince of Orange is then sent Lord George to become his liaison officer, and the whole thing becomes a little bit more serious. At this point as well, in April, light cavalry are sent to picket the frontier. But in the meantime, because the forage isn't great, it's not. It's early in the season, so the horses have to be spread wide in the area in order to not impact the local government, local people so much. So things aren't all sweetness and light on the Allies' side. There's been some Saxon regiments have mutinied. Prussia has shot its ringleaders. Tensions are mounting, and the Wellington doesn't know what's going on. He even believes at some point that Napoleon would try to strike against the Austrians on the Rhine first. That any movement of troops north would not be an invasion, or it wouldn't be a serious offensive measure. It'd be more of a pinning movement. So you pinned the Anglo-Dutch army, the Prussians in Belgium, with a relatively small force, whilst you then go and attack the Austrians. That was one option that Wellington thought about. So we have this a whole debate at the time about what the expectations were. So one of the lines of thinking was that that there'll be a holding battle around Charleroi whilst outflanking the Allies' right flank. So the idea would be that there would be a force that will come up in lure the Allies are thinking of the thrust is coming from Charleroi, whereas actually the main thrust will come round on the Allied right flank, and that would pressurize the Wellington, threaten his lines of communication. And that would force Wellington to make a decision whether to fall back on his lines of communication, which was the usual thing. So the initial headquarters of Wellington was in Ghent with the royal family, the Bourbon family. So the idea was that he would, that Napoleon might come up, threaten Charleroi, force the hand of the Prussians and maybe the Anglo-Dutch to face him here, but actually the main thrust would come possibly through Mons or even further Tournai, and then threaten Wellington's flank, and so he would then be forced to pull back, possibly abandon Brussels either towards Antwerp or Ostend. That's one of the theories that was going around at the time. This is the town of Laon. So this is the place where Napoleon reaches on the 12th of June, and he'll spend his night here. So this will be a good place to take another break. And we'll finish up episode 24 here at Laon. We'll have a little quick fly around the town just to see what it looks like. And we'll come back and continue the journey in episode 25. We'll continue looking at some of the theories that were floating around in 1815 about what Napoleon would do. So if you're new to the channel, this is what we do. We fly the Huey around looking at historical events, looking at the topography. We use Microsoft Flight Simulator to check places out like this that you would never probably go to. This is Laon in France, and this enables us to get a grasp of the distances involved. One of my big theories is that the distances involved that the troops have to go, the effort that they're required to make during this campaign is one of the big factors in why the French are defeated in the end. So we fly around, we look at places like this, and have a look to see if we can jump out at any point and have a check out the topography. But this is the place then that Napoleon will stay at on his journey to Waterloo. If you like this sort of stuff, then please give me a follow, like, all that sort of good stuff. You'll be able to find repeats of this on YouTube. I break it up, and I do that to make it easy for me. I will just have a few breaks every 20 minutes. These videos are never edited, so I'm flying live, I'm talking live, so you can join in, ask questions, tell me I've got things wrong. You can fly by, buzz me, whatever you like in the actual simulator. So we will continue our journey from here in the next episode. So I'll see you in a moment.